So good morning, and delighted to be back with you guys again after a few years ago. I think in Dublin was the last meeting that I managed to make it to, and it seems quite a long while ago to me now. But it's great to see you all still working and doing lovely research in this field. So delighted to be with you today, and thanks for the invitation. And I've also got Gail with me as well, which is good, and Gail's been around with us as well all of that same time. So I'm delighted to be here to present you an update on research funding priorities and opportunities in Northern Ireland at the minute. And in case anyone isn't familiar with our office, we are allocated funding from the Department of Health to support quality research in health and social care across all of Northern Ireland, including the universities, including the trusts and primary care and social care, and also in the charitable sector as well. So quite a wide remit, but the aim of our strategy, which is probably 50% of the way through now, we have our strategy from 2016 to 2025, research for better health and social care, and has the aim of increasing the health, well-being and prosperity of the Northern Ireland population through excellent world-renowned R&D in health and social care, which is led from Northern Ireland. So our allocated budget baseline figure is 12 million per year. We do have some extra income, which allows us to participate in the National Institute of Health Research funding streams in the UK, and our contribution to that allows researchers from Northern Ireland to lead studies on the AIIHPC funding schemes. We also would do quite a bit of partnership work with other funders, such as the research councils and NIHR themselves. And in the past, we have done some work with major charitable funders, and such as the Atlantic Philanthropies and Cancer Research UK and so on. So we try to maximise the value of our relatively small budget to increase the value and enable more research in health and social care in Northern Ireland. So this slide just shows a breakdown of how our funding is spent in very high level terms. We spend a considerable amount of funding on infrastructure, and that's sort of where our contributions to the Hospice and Palliative Care Institute would sit. And we then also have another chunk that's spent on research funding through different funding calls, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about those as we go through. And then capacity building as well, and we have a number of fellowship schemes that we contribute to, and one that we run of our own. And then a very important aspect of our work is to support dissemination and knowledge mobilization in health and social care research. And that aspect is really important to us in terms of trying to ensure that the findings of research are translated into policy and practice wherever possible. So I'll not go into the detailed breakdown on the infrastructure there. In the interest of time, I'll move on to some of the funding opportunities. And the way that we've set this out, you'll see that we have throughout this list provided some examples of palliative care projects that have been funded through our office. So you'll see that in the boxes, some examples. So building capacity, I'll talk about first. We've for a long time been running our doctoral fellowship scheme, and our office doctoral fellowship scheme supports health professionals, either medical or non-medical, who work in either health and social care or in the charitable sector, to take time out from their role to carry out a PhD fellowship. It's a good program. It provides full salary support for 3 years or up to 6 years part-time, and also running expenses, some training support and some PPI support, and also support to attend conferences and workshops. So it provides a full support for a doctoral fellowship, and we expect a pretty high standard of applications from candidates to that programme, fully supported by supervisors from a university, a relevant university with relevant expertise. And we also expect throughout that programme for the fellows to develop a robust research project in their area. Now, over the years, we have identified that, you know, some people come to that fellowship programme and they maybe need a little bit more support beforehand. So just this year, we launched a new scheme, which is referred to here, the bridging scheme. And the bridging scheme is really a pre-doctoral programme at the moment. So if anyone is interested in applying to our fellowship scheme, or indeed any other doctoral fellowship scheme that's available, that scheme will help to support them through mentorship and also, you know, a faculty almost of other applicants who can provide advice and support and help them to work towards a proposal for a fellowship scheme, and most importantly also provide some time, protected time, for them to take the time out of their busy role to prepare that application. So that's a new scheme, only one round so far, but we hope that there will be a further round during this year. There's a number of other schemes mentioned there, and I would just point out that whilst our own programme, the doctoral fellowships in our R&D, are only open to health and social care and the charity sector, we also are a member as such of the NIHR fellowship programmes, which are run by NIHR in the UK, and any successful applicants from Northern Ireland into those schemes will also be funded through our budget. And we've had a number of successes over the years in that scheme as well. And that starts at doctoral level, but goes through to postdoctoral, senior research fellowship, and career development awards. So quite a suite there. And indeed, we've had successes in a number of those over the years. And then we recently introduced a PPI scheme, one of Gail's innovations. And that was really to provide small grants to support PPI in research. So we've got that as well. And then moving on then to the general funding of projects, I mentioned the NIHR schemes, and those are all run by NIHR. You can find all the details on the NIHR website. The way that our office links into that programme is that we would have programme managers who are dedicated to supporting researchers to look at applications into each of those schemes. So there's the EME scheme, efficacy and mechanism evaluation, there's health technology assessment, there's health services and delivery research and public health research streams there. And again, we've had really quite a bit of success on that programme, and our contribution is in relation to our population in the UK. The overall funding pot of 100 million is completely open, and we can secure as much funding as we're able to from that. And in fact, over the first 5 years, and we're almost into our 8th or 9th year now, we were able to secure at least 3 times what we had put in. So it is a really good return on investment for us, and we hope that that will be continued by our department. And then we're also one of our own schemes that allows us to, as I said, maximise the value of our own budget is the opportunity-led scheme. So the principle of the opportunity-led scheme is that researchers may be able to find funding or secure funding from another major funder. And if that application is peer-reviewed and successfully peer-reviewed, then we are happy to provide supplementary funding. and that can run up to 50% of the value of the major funded award to allow additional research to be carried out. And that gives us leverage. And sometimes, you know, the promise of that funding will secure the funding from the other funder because they feel that there is commitment from the local government funding body. We also have then, just I wanted to mention the sort of needs-led funding streams that we have, that we would commission. And in particular, in the last year, obviously, we commissioned a rapid funding call around COVID-19. And you can see there a couple of examples of palliative care projects that were funded through that scheme. So I'll come to it later on, but that scheme, we spent about £1.6 million on COVID-19 research in different areas. So really pleased that we were able to contribute to that and mobilize that very rapidly and get those projects underway. There are other funding schemes that we also try to tap into and through our office provide support and some knowledge and signposting. And even a funding contribution. So you'll see there an example of one of the palliative care projects funded through Horizon 2020, which is also really good. Money coming into Northern Ireland for research. So very pleased about that as well. And then,
in the interest of time, could I give you one final minute? Is that okay?
Sure. Yes, I'm almost done. Believe it or not. Anyway, so don't worry. I'll cover this really quickly. We do have funding for conferences and workshops, and we also contribute through Evidence Synthesis Ireland now, and have built on our Cochrane Fellowships program that we previously funded. And again, examples there of some of the palliative care projects funded through those schemes. So we just wanted to quickly cover a little bit about the last year and some of the issues that have been encountered. So good news we have that obviously our rapid response funding call covered COVID-19 research up to 1.6 million and supported research for almost 30,000 participants in Northern Ireland, which is really amazing numbers for us, out of around over 1 million in the UK as a whole. And the studies were expedited to start really quickly through a really strong spirit of collaboration across the UK and allowed Northern Ireland to participate in some major UK-wide studies. And lots of challenges where R&D resources and staff were diverted to new and additional roles and functions, which really challenged the research community. But we put in place a new programme of recovery, resilience and growth, which has the aims listed here to try and kickstart research again in non-COVID areas, as well as continue to support the COVID research. And there's lots of really important topics in there, which we have set up a task force and subgroups to take forward. So just the last thing to say, from the point of view of opportunities in palliative care in the coming months and years, I suspect that we are all anticipating the impacts of long COVID and other sort of non-COVID indirect impacts that are waiting for us to encounter in the next while. And I expect that we'll have lots of research calls and lots of research projects around those. Just to mention the Peace Plus funding, if people are aware of that, coming up, and that's open for applications soon. To mention the Evidence Synthesis Ireland engagement workshop that's forthcoming, and also just to encourage everyone that we are very keen to see lots of applications coming our way for cross-discipline and topic applications, collaborative projects. Thank you so much for inviting us to present to you today.